Welcome to our PL Possibilities series. These videos have been created to assist teachers in improving their Canvas skills for the purposes of teaching and learning. This video is part of the Evidence of Learning playlist. An overview of the Evidence of Learning playlist is displayed on the screen. This video will focus on the Canvas feature quizzes as a way of creating a space for students to provide evidence of their learning. You can create a quiz in many ways by adding it to a module or creating one from a link on a page. The easiest way to navigate to quizzes is from the course navigation menu. By selecting quizzes, you'll be able to access the quizzes within your course. To create a new quiz, select Plus Quiz. There are two options for quizzes, Classic Quizzes and New Quizzes. This video will focus on Classic Quizzes. There are two important parts to creating a quiz, maintaining the details and providing access to the questions. Start by giving your quiz a title. In this case, I'm calling this one Evidence of Learning. Once you've provided a title, include some quiz instructions to provide your students with some idea of how to complete the quiz. In this case, I want students to complete all questions of the quiz and they can use their notes. The quiz instructions space can also provide access to a video that you want students to answer quiz questions about, or to a reading article or an image that you also want students to answer questions about. There are a number of quiz types that you can have within Canvas. You can have a practice quiz, a marked survey and an unmarked survey. In most cases, we'll make it a marked quiz. If it is a marked quiz, it follows through to the gradebook within Canvas. We're going to add it to an assignment group. In this case, this quiz is going to be part of Unit 1. I'm going to want students to shuffle answers. That means that if I choose a multiple choice question, the answers that they can select from are shuffled in order. This may prove useful if you have students completing tasks side by side. I can also provide a time limit in which students have to complete a quiz. I can allow multiple attempts for a quiz and indicate what kind of quiz score I want to keep, be it the highest, the latest, or the average score. I can also decide how many allowed attempts I can have. Could be 1, 2, 4, etc. This section here tells when students will be able to see when their questions are right or wrong, or when they've been marked in student feedback. You can choose the students to see their quiz responses only once after each attempt, or make sure that they can't access any answers until after a certain date. By enabling the quiz to show one question at a time, you can focus students on a particular question rather than them skipping past ones. You can also lock questions after answering. This means that once they provide a response, they can't go back and edit. Some further quiz instructions include requiring an access code. This means that students won't be able to complete the quiz unless they're provided with a password. This could provide an opportunity for teachers to prevent students from accessing a quiz until an element or unit of work has been completed. Additionally, you can filter by IP addresses to ensure that students can only complete the task from a certain environment, for example, from the classroom. Just like assignments, you can make the assignment available to everyone or to individual students. You can choose a due date, and you can make the quiz available from a certain date and make it available until a closing date. You can also differentiate the due date, available from date and until date by clicking the plus button and assigning it to individual students. Once the parameters have been done, I suggest you click Save. At this point, we've only set the parameters for our quiz. The quiz is unpublished, so students won't be able to access it, and we've just determined when and where students can access the quiz from. By clicking Edit, we can now add our questions. By navigating to the Questions tab, you see that we have three options. We can add a new question and create the question from within the quiz. By creating a new question group, we can group questions and allow students to answer 3 out of 5 questions rather than answering all 5. And we can also find questions that we may have created in other courses or earlier on in the course. This is a useful strategy in terms of revision. By clicking New Question, we can now choose a question. All questions come up with the default name of question, so I'm going to call this 1. There are a number of question types available. The first one is multiple choice, true, false, fill in the blank, fill in multiple blanks, multiple answers, multiple drop-downs, matching, numerical answers, formula question, an essay question, and a file upload question. The text note question can be an organiser within your quiz, determining which is part A or part B. In this case, I'm going to choose a multiple choice answers. You'll notice that I've actually have some prompts at the top. In this case, it says this question will show a tick box next to each answer, and the student must select all the answers you mark as correct. This means that they'll only get 1 point if they get all the answers correct. If they choose one out of the 2 options, they won't get the full points. From the Rich Content Editor, it's now time to add your question. In this case, we're going to do a question around which animals are omnivores. What I like to do is to increase the font size to enable students to see it more clearly in the screen view. As you can see, by default I have 4 possible answers that I can input. If I want to add a 5th answer, I click plus another answer and type in my content. It is now the opportunity to provide which answers are the correct answers. When you're providing the correct answer, you can just move it as click on or off. At this case, it's all possible answers. If I put down the additional ones, so in this case, a pig and a sloth are both examples of omnivores. Because students need to get both correct answers correct to be able to score the points for this quiz question, it's important that we add some feedback to enable students to learn from this question. You can provide feedback here on each possible answer by clicking on the box. If you want to provide feedback on the question as a whole, for correct answers, they'll be prompted to this feedback, for incorrect answers for here, or a general comment can be added as well. It's important from this quiz question that we update the quiz question one at a time. If at any time you want to see what your questions will look like, you can click Show Question Details. This enables you to check that you've got the correct answers. If at any point you need to edit the question, click the pencil. Make sure you save. From this view, you have a few options to review the parameters of your quiz. You also have the option to preview your quiz and take it as a test student to see if it functions as you intended. You can also edit. But please remember that once you publish, students are able to access the quiz if they are within the date range you have set. Thank you for watching this PL Possibilities series video.